Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about glamour magic and vampirism and how I feel these worlds collide, and I'm sharing my perspective, my experience. This is not scripted. I just wanted to come on here and have this discussion and share some of my views and thoughts on this, because I know a lot of people are very much into glamour magic and into the vampire and vampirism. So let's just jump right into this topic. First, what is glamour magic, right? Glamour magic is when you are looking to affect change in the way people perceive you. So you are manipulating those energies to be seen in a certain way. And I'm talking about glamour in the magical community, in the magical spaces, but a little bit also in the mundane. So there are levels of glamour and glamour magic. And that is the reason why I want to talk about this, because I see a lot of topics on glamour magic where it's solely focused on the exterior. I feel like the mastery of glamour is when you don't need all of those things. When you can just throw on those sweats, go out that door to the store, no makeup, you're just going out to grab a few things at the store, and then you get out there and you still have this alluring energy. You still draw in. People are looking at you. They compliment you. They want to talk to you. They listen to you. They are following every word that is that you are saying. That's true mastery of glamour. And the reason why I think that is important, right? Because they go hand in hand. Absolutely. Because the exterior helps you feel confident. The clothes you wear, the jewelry you put on, how you accessorize yourself, these things add to how you feel about yourself. But these are temporary. And when we do glamour magic, the other reason why this is important is because when we aren't coming from within, when we're just trying to do that, slap a band-aid on it to do the glamour magic, if we are, right, because the purpose is to draw an attention, to be noticed, to be seen, to shift the perception of you. When you have to do that, right, there's something inside that doesn't allow you to do that naturally. And it could be a lack of confidence. Why do you have that lack of confidence? Those things still exist inside. So what happens is when you do that magic, it may work, but also, you hear those stories about you attracted, when you do the magic, like you've attracted the wrong thing, like a fatal attraction scenario. But when you do this magic to attract, you can attract the wrong thing, because it's like attracts like, right? It's the energy you put out is attracting that same energy. So if you're putting out an unhealed energy, the chances are you are also attracting that to you. And this is the reason why it's important to understand that, but also do that protection when you are doing glamour magic. Because in any magic, this is the reason why we cast circles and protect our sacred space, is because we are tapping into the unseen, and it's just sending out a beacon into the unseen world, and things are attracted to that. is like a moth to the flame, to the light. So you may attract something else. So this is why it's important to do those two things. Protect yourself and make sure you know where this is coming from within you, right? And the reason why, I'm going to get into vampirism in a second, but the reason why I think these things collide, these worlds collide, is because what is the reason why you're doing glamour magic? You want to be perceived in a certain way. You want to feel glamorous. You want to feel enchanted and alluring and magnetic. When you do, and people come to you and they notice you and you notice and that your magic is working, it builds your confidence. You are feeding on the essence of all of these things that are happening that are magnetizing to you. And in turn, that begins to build your confidence. You are feeding on the essence of this. So when they tell you, when you come into spirituality, right, you hear people say, go into nature and, this helps you feel better. You are in nature, breathing in the air, hearing the sounds of nature. You are feeding on the essence of nature. This is the same concept. You are feeding on what is coming in that you are attracting. It is building a level of confidence. It is feeding your ego so that you can in turn become magnetic yourself. So this is why I feel like those lines are blurred with vampirism. Now, let's talk about vampirism. I coming from more of the ancient concept of the vampire in different cultures and some of the more romanticized versions, not from the vampire community. In the vampire community, you have different levels of the vampire. You have the living vampire. You have the spiritual vampire. You have the vampire that is just loving the lifestyle vampire. And there's different understandings of the purpose of being a vampire or why they are drawn to being a vampire. In the occult, it is more seen, and at least this is a lot of what I've seen people talk about when they discuss vampirism, is the act of being predatory, right? You are being the predator. You are sending out, it's often seen like sending out tendrils out into reaching out to your target and draining them, pulling on their energy, and it becomes your energy, right? So this is a lot of how I see vampirism worked, but that's a lower energy. That's a lower level of vampirism. There's so much more that you can tap into that it can potentially build your confidence. Vampirism is many say elitism, right? Vampirism is you have this confidence because you feel you are the predator. You feel like you're at the top of the food chain. So why I feel these lines are blurred, but let me go back a bit and talk about how I work with vampirism and how some people in the occult do. And the reason why I can talk about this, right, is because I've worked with or been around for years people within the vampire community, so vampires, living vampires. And I've worked with vampirism within the occult and people who do vampire magic. And also I work with Venus and glamour. So I understand those concepts, and have lived experiences and that let me know these things work. I'll get into that in a sec. But vampirism in magic, in the occult, is the act of feeding on something outside of yourself, drawing on energy for something outside of yourself. And the purpose of that is to gather and build upon your presence, your energy. And this is the same way with glamour. You want to be perceived in a certain way. So in vampirism, in order for it to be effective, you need to have some level of understanding how to glamour. This is what they call compelling. That word was never in my vocabulary until I watched Vampire Diaries and the originals. But this is compelling. You have to understand how that works. And you are essentially glamoring, right? Alluring, magnetizing. So again, these lines are kind of blurred. So I want to ask you a question, right? When you do glamour magic, if you're someone that does glamour magic, are you working vampirism? I want you to think about that. So I think it's very, very important to understand what it is that you are doing, because when you are doing these things from a place that isn't healed and working on the true mastery of glamour, it can bring about some results that are very much unwanted. So the ways that I myself will work on these things and have been doing so for some time, which is why I can share with you different experiences, and I can talk about it, is because I've been working with Venus and working on her virtues, because when we talk about glamour, these are all Venusian aspects. And I know from the way that it works, if you are, say you're working to build your confidence and you're tapping into a certain virtue of Venus and you're working on a specific area, it's going to come into conflict with the thing that needs to be healed that's inside, that is preventing you from having the confidence. So then it's going to kind of like highlight, oh, that's the thing that you need to work on. And then you begin to work on it. And then in place of that, as that is dissipating, that shadow is leaving, it is becoming healed. Then the thing that virtue that needs to be, that fill that place, that void, becomes the thing that is within you. And this is what you are exuding outwardly. Your auric field becomes magnetic. It's from within. So you don't have to worry about, oh, let me do this glamour magic. Although, like I said, you can 100% do all of this and it works hand in hand. But I wanted to share this because I see a lot of people talk about both, actually. I see a lot of people talk about glamour, and, you want to enchant your lipstick, your makeup, everything that's on the exterior. I don't hear people talking about, yes, working on the glamour, and I gotta work on healing from within so that I can become this magnetic person. That is the true glamour. If you could go outside and not care about what it is that you have on and still be that magnetic person, that is true glamour. And if you could tap into vampirism without feeling like you need to be the predator, and you can only be confident and build your magic by taking someone else's, that's the lower level. You're not mastering the vampirism. Vampirism is so much more. Well, yes, I know it is fun, right? It is fun to be the predator sometimes. It is fun to hunt sometimes. But I am talking about true mastery of all of these things. Everything else is superficial. Everything else is outward. I think mastery is from within. So glamour, magic, and vampirism and vampire magic can work together hand in hand. And if you think you aren't feeding, you are mistaken. You are, when you do these things to draw in, and you draw them in, it fulfills you. Feeding fulfills. Feeding satiates that desire. So I want you to ask yourself when you are doing that glamour magic, and some people probably already know it. They're like, yeah, I'm feeding. And I know a lot of people don't like to use that word, but it's the truth, right? And when you are someone that does magic, you are a magical practitioner, you are manipulating energies. You are manipulating things outside of yourself. So these are all things that people don't like to think about, like they're doing these bad things. Again, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. I'm just stating this because I know a lot of people, there's certain words that a lot of people don't like to associate themselves with. But if you are doing glamour magic, it has an aspect of vampirism in it. And if you are wanting to excel in vampirism, you have to know a level of glamour. I want to share a few things that made me pay attention to this. So years ago, when I wanted to test it, I did it on purpose because I started to notice it when I started working on my Venus and other things that affected my level of confidence. When I started actually working on that and then working on glamour and magnetism, I remember going out one time and there were beautiful women in the same vicinity as me. So I went out I didn't put on my best. I just doing anything. Didn't actually feel my best. But I wanted to go out just to have fun. And I remember, I'm saying to myself, people were coming up to me like, oh, your energy. I love your energy. I love your style. Who are you? And talking to me. I'm saying to myself, why are these people talking to me? There's other people around me that I would expect them to be talking to. So when I got home, I was like, oh, it really works. The things that I was doing really worked. So then I started to pay more attention to it and fine tune it and work with it more consciously and intentionally. So I know it works. I know when you work on it from inside, glamour magic from inside, yes, everything else on the exterior is fun. And yes, these things do also help build your confidence, right? You don't want to just be throwing on anything every day. But there are some times you just want to relax, but still have this confidence. Imagine if you had this from within and you still also worked on your exterior. Boom! The world doesn't have a chance, right? So it's just like, this is the mastery, true mastery. And I wanted to just share with you my thoughts. Please do let me know in the comments like what your thoughts are if you are someone that does a glamour magic, or if you're someone that works with vampire magic, and what does that look like for you. But I wanted to just share this with you, share my thoughts, because it's been on my mind. And I wanted to have this video out there on my channel, so when people come across, and hopefully you're coming across my channel and watching my videos, but I wanted to have this in the list of my videos, so people understand where I'm coming from when we talk about glamour and vampirism. And if you want to hear more videos about vampirism in my world, not coming from the popular books, not coming from the vampire community, if you want to understand, have this conversation more, this discussion more, let me know. I'm open to that. So Until the next video, I love you all, and into the shadows.